Sup, Tyler? Sean Porter, you are. Yeah, thank you, Joe. I've never done this, and the World Series said, "Hey, you have to do it from your phone." And I said, "Well, I got a desktop," and he said, "No, it's got to be on your phone." So, can everybody hear me to start with? Can somebody just tell me if they can hear me? What's up, Nick? Rares, I don't know what that means, but it looks good. Thanks, buddy. Yes, Justin, I know I'm live. I get it. I'm live. What do you think of Conor possibly calling it quits? I don't buy it for a second, but this isn't good. I mean, let's get right into it. This isn't good. This happened one other time. Somebody else got pulled from a card. Here, let's start at the beginning. This is the biggest UFC of all time. And sometimes that's a fun thing to say for promotional reasons, but it is. Look, UFC 100. When you talk about the ratings, when you talk about the biggest show of all time, nobody ever even brings up UFC 100 because it was such an anomaly and the numbers were so crazy that you just throw it out. It's like a curve in school. You just throw it out. So UFC 200, you would have to imagine would be that big. He was sitting on top of the bill. And, this is done. The commercials are out. There's a lot of money that's already spent. There's a lot of billboards that are already up. If you go to New York right now, if you go to LA right now, if you go to Las Vegas right now, there's already billboards up. This is a big deal when he pulls out and you got to redo all of that stuff. I've known Dana since 2005. He's not putting a patch in this boat. Conor could call him right now. He's not patching up UFC 200. Shut up. This is from Travis. Shut up. You cannot back up your talk, you bum. That's beautiful. That's good work by you. I will accept that. Are you going to fight Silva in Bellator? I assume you mean Wanderlei Silva, and the answer is no. Chris Cyborg versus Conor McGregor. Who wins? Question from Bradley. Very funny, Bradley. Okay. Brody says, we're back on Conor. Rumor has it it's a contract dispute. What do I think? Yeah, it's a contract dispute. So I don't have any info on this. I don't have any inside info on this. Just being around the business since the 90s, I know how it worked. I know how this whole thing went down. And if I tell you what I think, I guarantee I'm 98% right, if not 100. Conor had a deal with the UFC. And Conor's now going back and trying to renegotiate. And it just doesn't work that way. It can't. You can't write everything down. You can't get contracts done all the time in this business. There's 500 guys under contract. There's not even that many employees within the UFC. I think there's like 340 employees with 500 fighters. There's 53 shows scheduled for a year that only has 52 weeks in the year. You have to be able to make a phone call, count on whatever the guy says, hang up the phone, and that's the end of it. You have to be able to do that. Conor has a contract. He made a deal. Somewhere he didn't sign it. Let the promotion go out. Let the money get spent. And then realize I've got the upper hand. Now I can come back and renegotiate. Who's going to tell me no when the advertising's already done? That's what he did. Guaranteed. With no inside knowledge. Guaranteed that's what happened. And that's not going to work. That's what happened. Who's a good replacement for Conor? Man, I guarantee you George St. Pierre's phone is blowing up right now, and he's getting a big offer. That's the guy they're going to go after. Next, they're going to go after Ronda. Maybe after Ronda. Let's see. When am I going to fight? Retired. Thank you for asking. Diaz versus RDA 2. Make it happen. I'll sign up for that. They already gave RDA to Alvarez, and you're right. They could make a couple phone calls and get it done, but that's not a marquee fight. It wasn't the first time. It's not going to be the second time. Nate versus Cowboy has to be the best option for Nate. Again, Scotty, that's not a bad point. That's a great fight. This is UFC 200. Great fights don't cut it. You go back to UFC 100. George St. Pierre, Dan Henderson versus Bisping, Brock Lesnar. Okay, that's the kind of card that we're looking for.
Cowboy Lawler. Or not Cowboy, but Diaz Lawler would be a good one.
Diaz Lawler would sell. Landon saying Cowboy. Yeah, man, you could be right. GSP's the better fight. Yes, GSP's the better fighter. That's fair. Chael versus Silva 3 at UFC 200. First off, I'm retired, and second off, I'm suspended. I could not fight on that card if I wanted to. Let's see. I say Lawler versus Cowboy. Oh, Lawler and Cowboy, Jacob. Really? You're taking Diaz right out of the equation. Interesting. That's interesting. That literally has my interest. Wow. You could okay. You could be onto something there. Nate would get destroyed. I assume you're talking about to GSP, Andrew. Yeah, I don't even know if Nate wants to be a 170-pounder. Don't forget that. Nate's a 55-pounder that went up for that fight. So if it's not against Conor, don't just pencil him into that division. Let's see. Daniel Gutierrez says, honestly, it wasn't a good fight for Conor to take. He just needed to defend his title. I agree. There's no way to dispute if it was a good fight. The fight already happened, and yeah, it lasted 7 minutes. Nate versus Nick, not going to happen. Diaz versus GSP, another guy's calling for it. Look, I'll tell you right now, Diaz would do it. Diaz would do that fight. Do you have GSP's number, Joel? Call GSP right now.
Don't have it. Can I call Conor?
Okay, thoughts on... Haven't seen the results. Sent to Kasich and Cruz together. We're still losing by 20 points, so I'm imagining Trump dominated. Hi from Houston, Texas. Well, hello back. Numbers guys. It's about the numbers, yeah. Silva, oh, there's one. Somebody, Jared Cook just said Silva versus GSP. That fight would sell. That fight would absolutely sell and could headline. Could absolutely headline. So what's another one? Let's see. It's April. You've got till May, June. You could put John Jones and Daniel Cormier in there. In fact, that's very likely. I don't know if they'll come to terms with St. Pierre. There's a lot of things that have to come together for St. Pierre. A lot of things. He doesn't just go yes. It's probably going to be Cormier versus John Jones. Myself and Belfort can't do that. Who do you think took more juice, you or Anderson Silva? Ah, man, I gotta think I got him beat, Diego. You could. I had a higher juice concentrate than Tropicana. How much do I bench? LOL. I'm going to answer that question, even though I think you're kidding, because I used to be very proud of my bench press. I did 335 pounds. Now that was in college. That was in like 1999. 335 pounds would crush me to death right now. But I used to be a good bench presser. So is McGregor really done? Yeah. Christopher, he might really be done. Do you have McGregor's number? Call Conor. Hold on, Christopher. I'll get you an answer right now. Let's just ask Conor. I don't know if he wants to be done. This was a negotiation tool. But he called the bluff of the wrong guys. These are gamblers, man. There's rules in Vegas. If you say bet, you have a bet. I mean that. You ever go to a casino, you don't put your money down, you tell the pit boss, I want that bet. If he yells the word bet, you have a bet. And it goes both ways. If you win it, he'll pay you. Call Conor, please. Hold on. We're going to call Conor right now. I'm going to ask that question. Are you really done? So the point I'm getting at is this was a negotiation tool. But anytime you bluff... Oh, all right. His phone's turned off. Anytime you call... Will you try him back? And if he does pick up, put him on speaker, please. Anytime you go into a negotiation and you call someone's bluff, man, you better mean it. Because this is what can happen. I want to see Condit versus Lawler for the main event. Abraham, I love that fight, man. This is UFC 200. In a million years, that's not going to happen. Shane, you love the podcast. Thank you. We found out the problem. It's 3:09 in the morning where Conor McGregor is. He's in Iceland. Wake him up, unless he turned the phone off. Keep calling. I bet his phone's blowing up. We're probably not going to get through. Randy the Natural, somebody says. I pay to see that. Nate versus Benson. Okay, good fight. It already happened. Gregory, it already happened. It didn't sell that well the first time. Benson is also over in Bellator now. Jones versus Verdum. Okay. Now you're getting crazy, Philip, but you're not that far off because it's UFC 200. You need that you need that shock factor. You need that parity. You need that match that you never thought could happen. You could be onto something there. It could be Jones versus Verdum. They both have fight. A lot of things have to come together, but I see where your head's at. Chael, pull a Kimbo fight in Europe like Kimbo in Bellator. I don't know what that means. But he won. Kimbo won his last fight, so I assume that's a good thing. Chael, will you read my book? Are you going to send me one? Are you looking for a plug for it? You should have put the title in and where to buy it. Bad marketing there, JR. I believe Conor knew a second excuse wasn't going to fit. Yeah. First off, Theron, you got a great name. I've never seen that before. And secondly, yeah, man, I mean, this is a big deal. We'll see how it all washes out. But yeah, when you get beat up by a guy and then you agree to fight him again and then you pull out, it really doesn't matter after that. And the miscalculation here by Conor is he's not going to be telling his side. He's going to be telling his side to whoever.com. He's not going to be telling it on FS1 or ESPN or anywhere. Those days are gone. This is a big mistake. Nate said he won't fight GSP. That's his brother's fight. He did say that. He said that on my podcast. You're right about that. Would I fight Nate Diaz? Absolutely not. Though we did spar together. Now don't forget there's a big weight gap there. And he's tougher than hell. I'll tell you that much. Call GSP. Do you have GSP? He doesn't have I have GSP's number, but I'm holding my phone. I'm doing this on my phone. And George would answer. I guess it's 3 a.m. where Conor is. We couldn't get George would answer his phone, but I don't know how to do it while I'm holding this thing. Karen from New York says, Chael, you look like you just finished a workout. Why aren't you wearing your suit like I told you to? Because I did just finish a workout. Sorry about that, Karen. Let's see. Call GSP now. I don't know how to call Amity. I don't know how to call him while I'm on this phone. Joel says he doesn't have his number. Do we even know for sure what's going on yet, though? In some way, Donald, do we know the backstory and all the gossip, which is what is really fun about this? No, we don't. But we do know it's true. I'll tell you my own personal experience. I was doing a podcast. Well, I was driving to my podcast today, and Jim Rome's the #1 sports guy in America, period. Jim Rome is closing out his show. He has about 3 minutes left. I'm listening on the way to the podcast, and out of nowhere, Jim goes, Conor McGregor retiring. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. And then that's it. He goes off the air. Of course, I did not believe he was going to retire any more than you guys did, but you can't. Jim Rome doesn't just say things. This is a very reputable guy. And I go to my podcast, I'm thinking, this is ridiculous. I don't even know what's going on here. This isn't going to happen. And then Dana White went on ESPN late afternoon, early evening, and he said, yeah, man, Conor's out. And he said that we got a press tour. He's not doing it. He hasn't agreed to this fight. He did agree. He didn't, however all that worked, but he's out. So that's what's going on. GSP versus Wonder Boy. Yeah, okay. I don't know about selling out UFC 200, but I'll drink to that. You're freaking awesome. Well, that's very nice of you, and you are a very good judge of character. Let's see here. Diaz made McGregor retire. Yeah, it looks that way. I mean, the reality is that it happened in a negotiation, but you're right. History will say differently. I cannot wait to see you back at it again. Well, that was nice of you. Miss you in the ring. Appreciate. Why are you guys being? Don't be nice to me. Don't be nice to the bad guy. Hey, let these rip. But thank you. All right, Diaz versus GSP. Love that. Somebody's saying Showtime, which I assume means Anthony Pettis. I like that. Hello from Ontario. Hello back. took from Memphis. Lawler versus Condit. Love the fight. I love every match you guys are making. I love, and I don't mean to dismiss them. UFC 200 is a different animal. They're in a brand new venue that they've never played. Ticket prices are through the roof. It's UFC 200. It's a different deal. It's a different deal. Somebody said Jones versus Verdum. As crazy as that sounds, that's the kind of fight. Maybe not that fight. That's the kind of fight that they're going to go after. Something that's going to blow your mind. The greatest place in the world to be right now is in George St. Pierre's. That's the story no one's I guarantee George St. Pierre's phone has rang, and the number he got offered put everybody to rest. Somebody said Liddell versus Jones. Steven, shame on you. Liddell versus Liddell. Come on. Mark Hunt versus John Jones. Again, not going to happen, but I know where your head's at, and it's that kind of creativity that you're going to get for 200. Kane versus John Jones. That's my favorite one yet. Dillashaw versus Mighty Mouse. Don't forget, Mighty Mouse has to fight this weekend. Mighty Mouse has Henry Cejudo this weekend. Few moving parts there. GSP is the best. I agree with that. Thank you, Donald. How much did McGregor make before retiring? I don't know. He did just under $10 million, which was the biggest check they ever wrote. Just under. The highest check up until then was 5.5. That went to Brock Lesnar. St. Pierre was in the fives, but they were very low. 5.2, 5.1. Conor, but he got a lot of those. A lot of those. Conor's check for Aldo was just under $10 million. And supposedly, and I happen to believe this, supposedly he got more for Diaz, and I believe that. How many times you hit the gym these days? Twice a day. Not working as hard as I'd like to, but I'm in there. Is Anderson done? Could he headline a card like 200? No, Anderson's not done. He's got a fight scheduled in Brazil. He's going to fight Uriah Hall. Coming right up. I'm glad Conor's gone. He was such a loudmouth. I think a few people will agree with you, but I don't believe the masses will. I don't believe the masses will. Chris says this breaks my heart. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Chris. I'm kind of with you on that, and not from a Conor standpoint. I tell you, as a fan, I got to kind of be unbiased in these situations. Broadcasting for the World Series of fighting, but I'm a fan. I'm a fan first. I want to see the fight. I want to see, Nate Diaz has never really got his due, even after winning this fight. Instead of people going, "Wow, you're better than we thought," or your ratings, they went the other way. They go, "Well, Conor wasn't." They made all these excuses. Nate never really got patted on the back, and it goes that way sometimes. Sometimes you got to prove your point, and then you got to prove it again. And this was his big chance. All right, Walter Hernandez wants you to try Conor McGregor one more time, please. I think Conor's phone is off. It went straight to voicemail. So either his phone's getting so many calls that we got it busy, or it's probably just off. Frankie versus Aldo for the real belt. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, George. That is the silver lining. That is absolutely the silver lining. You're right about that. If Conor's gone, then Conor's gone, and Frankie finally can go get that real belt, or have a shot at it. I guess have a shot. Aldo's very tough. Juan, thank you, pal. My thoughts on Rashad getting put to sleep. I was surprised. I didn't know how that fight with Glover would go. Glover's a former #1 contender. Rashad's a former champion. That's a close fight on paper. I think Rashad's a better fighter. I'd take his skills over Glover. I say that respectfully, but Rashad's only fought, aside from that fight, he's fought one time in 3 years. It's a long time out, so you never know. Until he gets in there, you just never know. Who should Nate fight now? I don't know, but Nate better stay on the card. And Nate's stock is going to rise. That's the other thing. You're going to get all this Conor news for a day or two, and then pretty soon the other side's going to come out. He backed down. He ran. Nate Diaz. There's going to be a storm here, and Nate's stock is going to go up. All right, Chael, I'm a Brazilian, and I appreciate all the things that you've done in the octagon and the fact that you showed the real face of Anderson Silva. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't like that you guys are being so nice to me. I don't trust it. I don't trust this niceness. But thank you, buddy. How can I get an interview for my radio show? Start recording, Jeremy. Start recording and plug it in. It's called pirating. The kids are really into it these days. What's up, Elena? Thanks, sister. Chael versus Kimbo Slice. All right. Oh, GSP versus Vitor. Never going to happen. Like where your head's at. St. Pierre versus Robbie Lawler. Yeah, that one could happen. That's two guys that are available. They've been trying to make that fight. The fact that they're trying to make that fight isn't the world's greatest secret, but they have been trying to make that fight. My understanding is that GSP is the holdout on that. I guarantee GSP got a phone call today with a lot of zeros behind that offer. Jones versus Rumble, I would watch that. Don't forget Daniel Cormier is the champ. Wake him up. Man, I'm trying to wake him up. His phone's turned off. Let's see. Uriah versus Cruz. Go ahead.
That said Robbie Lawler versus Luke Rockhold.
That's signed?
No, Ladd said that would be his.
Okay. Ladd said that he'd like to see Robbie Lawler versus Luke Rockhold. That'd be a super fight, and they need something. Fedor versus Kane. Oh, Corey, don't tell me you're one of these Fedor believers. Come on now, don't do that. Chael, something came in the mail for you today. You mailed me something? Thanks. Why would Conor act like this? I don't know. Here, let me tell you a story, though, Brandon. Conor McGregor is the Ultimate Warrior of the UFC. Did you guys watch pro wrestling? Do you guys know who the Ultimate Warrior is? So, the Ultimate Warrior was one of these guys that a deal was never a deal. Ever. You couldn't trust him. And I'll tell you one story about him, but he did this stuff all the time. So he gets to a pay-per-view called the Survivor Series. He was committed. He was contracted. He was there. He was in the back. He was in the locker room. Vince McMahon promoted this thing. The venue sold out. People bought the pay-per-views. And when it's right before the time that the Ultimate Warrior is supposed to walk before the curtain, he turns to Vince McMahon and he demands a crazy amount of money. This story is right from Vince McMahon. Vince has told the story. I don't know what it was, but it was like $1 million. He goes, "Or I'm not going out there. And you've promised everybody that you're either going to be a liar or you're going to pay me $1 million." So Vince McMahon ran, scratched him out a check, handed it to him. Warrior walked out there. Vince delivered on his word. Warrior walked back through the curtain, and Vince said, "You're fired and don't come back." But he let him keep the money. He didn't cancel the check. He let him keep the money. Conor's one of those guys. Conor doesn't care. He doesn't care about his relationship. It's a different deal. It's a good, solid negotiating tool. I don't like it. I don't like guys that do it. Your word has to mean something. It has to. If you say you're good, that's it. It has to. Conor's the Ultimate Warrior. He'll make a deal and then he'll come back on. And that's one thing about the UFC. See, they'll make this mistake, but they've got to be able to. When I say it's a mistake, you ask somebody to do something, they say yes, boom, you hang up the phone. That's it. You then move forward on it. You push the green light in a machine, whether you're talking about Zuffa, whether you're talking about World Series of Fighting, whether you're talking about whatever sports organization you're talking about, when you push the green light, hundreds of thousands of dollars get spent in PR, in posters, in advertising, instantly. But if you don't have the ink dry on the contract, Conor can come back and go, "Well, I'm not going to show up." The end. Now you've spent all the money, you've promised everybody, you've got the PR, it puts you in a tough spot. And most people would do what Vince McMahon did with the Ultimate Warrior. They'd write the check, and maybe they won't have you back, but they'll write the check. He pulled a bluff on the wrong guys. It's as simple as that. Chael for President by Joshua. That's a damn good vote. Chuck Liddell versus Randy the Natural Couture. All right, not a main event, but I'm in. Any news about GSP? No, but it's coming. Oh, Dada 5000 versus Nate Diaz. Very funny. Love the idea. What did he want? 100 million? I don't know. I don't know what happened here. I really don't know. He was looking to make a crazy amount of money. Anywhere from 12 to 15 million the way his contract works. Because he gets buys. He's not just on a guarantee. he gets in on the pay-per-view. So he gets his guarantee, plus he gets points on the back end. It's very rare. There's not very many guys that get it. In fact, under contract right now, there's 2. They're currently fighting under contract. There's 2 guys. Anderson's had that, and he lost it. He lost it when he lost the title. He then would get it if he main event shows. He's currently gonna co-main event a good show. There's only 2 guys that get it. So Conor's projection was between 12 and 15 million. You guys always hear the numbers that people put out. Conor, the first guy to make $1 million in the UFC. Nobody knows how the money really works. Conor would have made a minimum of 12 and up to 15. Would I fight John Jones while he's high? That'd be about the only way I want to fight that son of a bitch. I fought him when he wasn't high. That was a lot to deal with. Shout out. Shout out to Corey Nichols. You got it, buddy. I'm shouting out. Shout out to Ring Demon. I don't know what a shout out means. What does that mean? I just say your name? Or do I have to actually yell? Say my name, John Farrell. All right. Elena, what's up, Poe? Okay, what am I missing here? Jim Rome. I'm not saying that, Ryan. You almost got me, though, you dog. Good job. Come back to Phoenix with the World Series of Fighting. Yeah, man, I agree with that. I love it. I love the places the World Series plays. We got Foxwood coming up in June. Just played Vegas on April 2nd. They'll definitely be back to Phoenix. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but yeah, they play some cool venues. I even heard they're going to come to Seattle in July. So, big fight town right there. Give me a Donald Trump impersonation, please. I don't have one. Make America great again. I don't have one. I want to do it too. I'm trying to think of one. I don't have one. Lawler versus McDonald 2. Yeah, I love the fight. If we're talking about as a replacement for UFC 200, it's not going to happen. But yes, I love that fight. Call Stone Cold Steve Austin. For what? What am I going to ask him? Thank you, Trent Draper. Ishmael. What else do we got, guys? Let's talk some fights. Where's the crazy questions? I showed Yoel Romero the video you did on him, and he loved it and appreciated it. Oh, well, thank you. Yoel Romero's a tough guy. See, he's a wrestler. I come from a wrestling background. Yeah, man. I'm going to back him up. That's just the way it goes. Is Kane ready to go? John Bones and him. Love it. I love it. I don't think it's likely, but I love it. Should Rashad Evans retire? No. Here's what you got to understand. So Rashad took off, let's call it 3 years. It wasn't 3 years, but it was a lot of them. Took off some time. They bring him back and put him against Bader, who was arguably the number 1 contender. Arguably. Probably wins the argument that Bader should have been fighting for the title. And Cormier, who was the champ at the time, agreed. So that's his first fight back. And he did well. He lost the fight, but he competed well. They then bring him back against the former number 1 contender in a 5-round main event. I mean, it was a lot to ask of anybody. Anybody could have lost that fight, but it's a lot to ask of a guy that was coming off of an injury. And I don't know where you go with him. They had him against Shogun. He was scheduled against Shogun. I liked that fight. I think that was a good way to come back. I don't know if he would have won, if he would have lost, but I liked the fight. Glover was on a little bit, just a little bit different momentum. And in the fight game, momentum matters. All right. Somebody's saying BJ Penn. I like Penn. Hughes versus GSP, sure. All right, I got time for one more question. Who's got a good one? Call Nate. He would have an awesome reaction. That's a good idea. I can't do it from my phone. Joel, do you have Nate's number? He didn't have the number. And I'm on my phone. I don't know how to make a call while I'm doing this, or I'd call him right now. Anderson versus Chael. I believe we all want to see you finish Silva. You were so close. Thank you, buddy. Diaz versus Lawler. Kane versus Mark Hunt. Good job, Patrick. I like that. Jones versus the racist cop in New Mexico. I had to read that out loud because a lot of people will get what you just said. A lot of people are going to get that, and the rest of them will go Google it. Okay. Holm versus Ronda. Now, see, that's the move right there. Brandon is saying put Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey. That's the move. Somewhere when Misha won that title, the UFC thought, well, we can't do that fight now. It's got to go to Misha. That's not true. You can take Misha out of that equation completely and have a number one contenders fight. It doesn't always have to go to the champ. And to that point, don't forget, that's what they were doing with the main event. Conor versus Nate wasn't going to be for the strap. No one's got it. Lawler's got it at that weight class. Sometimes you just make the fight. So Holm versus Rousey 2 still works. There's no luster loss. They're both coming off a loss. It's a fight everybody wants to see. That's the fight to make.
Love that fight.
Joel loves the fight. Chael, call Romero. I can give you his number. What am I going to ask him? What am I going to ask Romero right now? What he thinks about Conor? Will Conor fight again? It's not looking good. You know, it's not looking good. Again, it's not just business. It's just not. I could go into detail, but it's not. You bluff some gamblers, man. UFC's owned by gamblers, owned by casino guys. You give your word in a casino, okay? If you tell the pit boss, I want to bet, and he says the word bet, this means something. This isn't, I hope you guys know what I mean. The pit boss says bet, when you give him your word, you have a bet. There is nothing worse than, not in that town. There is nothing worse. You give your word, that's it. That's it. And there's no amount of money to buy that back. And that's a two-way street. That's not just a one-way street. It's a two-way street. Talking World Series of Fighting, you talking the UFC. If they tell you something and they realize they screwed up, they're writing the check. You bet your ass they're writing the check. They'll never come back, go, oh, well, yeah, well, let's relook it. Never. They won't say a word. They just write the check. Don't forget the town you're doing business with. It's important that you understand that. Am I going to ever return to MMA? No. He's using money as an excuse. Yeah, I hear you on that, Jake. I hear you on that. This is a big mistake. Big mistake. Chael, you look like Hillary Clinton's twin sister. That sucks. What do I do? Why do I look like Hillary Clinton's twin sister? So you mean I look like Hillary Clinton? The twin sister part's a little redundant, don't you think? What is it, the hair? Are you insulting me or are you complimenting her? Jake Herbert wants to know if he can get a shout out. You know, it's funny that he says that, Jake. I just sent you a text. I just sent it to you, and I sent you a picture of this. This is your shirt. I'm wearing your shirt that came in the mail. I hit send on that and then went on to this thing. So you got it, buddy. And thank you for the wonderful, wonderful memories in wrestling. Whatever you decide to do. Call Diaz. Can't. The number's on my phone. Joel doesn't have it. Dos Anjos versus Nate. Again, maybe. I don't know. I don't disagree with that. It's just, again, you can't do that for UFC 200. All right, didn't I say one last question? All right, I'm getting a call, Nate. Oh, Weidman versus John Jones. Weidman's got a fight. Rockhold, I don't think the timing will work out. John Jones would be available. John Jones fights this Saturday, which is the 23rd of April. He'll automatically be given a 30-day suspension by the commission, which takes you to May 23rd. Yeah, and the fight's July 7th. Yes, John Jones will be available and is likely to fight Daniel Cormier. They're in a tough spot right now. All right, I really mean this. Last question. NFL fighters are the best warriors. NHL fighters are the best warriors. Fine, that's a statement, not a question, and a ridiculous one at that, but I'll take it. I heard 10 million guaranteed plus pay-per-view. That's from Donnie. You're real close on that. He'd have done between 12 and 15 million. All right, everybody, I've had it with you all. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you all. Okay, bye.